Imagine this. You're hungry. You walk into a restaurant, order a burger, eat the whole thing, and when the bill arrives, you place 3 seashells on the table. The waiter stares at you. You stare back. The seashells seem valuable enough. So why isn't he impressed? The answer seems obvious. Seashells aren't money. But that raises a much stranger question. Why is money money? Why do we all agree that certain pieces of paper, metal discs, or even numbers on a screen have value at all? To answer that question, we need to tell the story of one of humanity's greatest inventions. An invention that built empires, funded wars, created fortunes, toppled kingdoms, and somehow convinced billions of people that little pieces of paper are worth real things. Welcome to the Atlas Guide. I'm Atlas. And together, we're going to explore the stories behind the things that shape our world. The things we use every day, the things we rarely stop to think about, and the surprising stories behind how they came to be. Today, we're starting with one of humanity's most important inventions, money. To understand money, we first need to imagine a world without it. A very inconvenient world. Let's say you're a farmer. You have chickens. Lots of chickens. In fact, you have so many chickens that your neighbors have started crossing the street whenever they see you coming. One day, you decide you need a new pair of shoes. So, you visit the village shoemaker. "Hello," you say. "I'd like some shoes." The shoemaker nods. "Great. What do you have to trade?" You proudly present 3 chickens. The shoemaker looks at the chickens, then looks at you, then looks back at the chickens. Unfortunately, he doesn't need chickens, he needs wheat. Now you have a problem. You need to find somebody willing to trade wheat for chickens before you can trade wheat for shoes. And that's assuming you can find them. Economists have a fancy name for this problem. They call it a double coincidence of wants, which is a very complicated way of saying, you have something I don't want, and I have something you do want. For thousands of years, people lived in a world like this. Trading worked well enough in small villages. But as civilizations grew larger, barter became a nightmare. People needed a better solution, something everyone would accept, something everyone could agree had value. Humanity needed money. They just didn't know it yet. Long before paper bills and credit cards, people experimented with all sorts of things: cattle, salt, tea, beads, cowrie shells, and in some places, giant stone discs. Not small stones, not medium stones, stones the size of furniture. On the Pacific island of Yap, enormous stone wheels were considered valuable. Some weighed several tons. In many cases, nobody even moved them. Ownership simply changed. Everyone agreed that the stone belonged to somebody else now. Which sounds ridiculous. Until you realize most of your money today doesn't move either. It's just numbers changing inside computers. The important lesson is this. Money doesn't have to be useful. Money doesn't even have to be portable. Money has to be trusted. And trust is where the story gets interesting. People tried hundreds of different forms of money throughout history. Which raises another question. Why did gold become so popular? Why not wood? Why not iron? Why not potatoes? Potatoes are useful. You can eat potatoes. Try eating a gold coin. Actually, don't. Gold had several advantages. It was rare, but not too rare. It didn't rust. It didn't decay. It could be melted down and reshaped. It was easy to recognize, and perhaps most importantly, people thought it looked amazing. For thousands of years, humans looked at a shiny yellow metal and collectively decided, yes, that one. Entire civilizations crossed deserts searching for it. Explorers sailed oceans looking for it. Kings filled vaults with it. Empires fought wars over it. For much of human history, gold became the closest thing the world had to a universal symbol of wealth. Around 2,600 years ago, a kingdom called Lydia, located in what is now Turkey, introduced something revolutionary: standardized coins. For the first time, people could exchange pieces of metal with known values. No weighing, no guessing, no arguments. And most importantly, no chickens. The idea spread quickly. The Greeks adopted coins, the Persians adopted coins, the Romans adopted coins. Soon, much of the ancient world was using money. Trade became easier. Merchants traveled farther. Businesses grew larger. Governments collected taxes more efficiently, which governments absolutely loved. The taxpayers were somewhat less enthusiastic. Money helped connect cities, kingdoms, and entire civilizations. People could trade with strangers hundreds of miles away and still trust that their payment would be accepted. For the first time, commerce could operate on a truly massive scale. But coins had a problem. They were heavy. Very heavy. Imagine trying to buy a house by carrying bags of gold through town. Not only would your arms hurt, but you would also become the most interesting person in town, especially to thieves. So people searched for a better solution. That solution emerged in China. Instead of carrying large amounts of metal, merchants began carrying paper receipts representing stored value. The paper wasn't valuable by itself. It represented something valuable. Over time, these receipts evolved into paper money. At first, many people thought the idea was absurd. Imagine being told that this thin piece of paper was somehow worth a pile of silver. It sounded completely ridiculous. And honestly, it still sounds a little ridiculous. But something remarkable happened. People trusted it, governments supported it, merchants accepted it. And once enough people believed in it, it worked. This reveals one of the strangest truths about money. Money has value because we believe it has value, and because everyone else believes it too. That shared belief is incredibly powerful. But paper money introduced a dangerous temptation. If governments could print money, why not print more money? And if printing more money solves problems, why not print a lot more money? History has shown that this is usually where things start going wrong. Imagine a village with 10 apples and $10. Each apple costs $1. Simple enough. Now imagine somebody magically creates another $100. How many apples exist? Still 10. But now, there is much more money chasing the same number of apples. Prices begin to rise. Money begins to lose value. This is called inflation. A little inflation is normal. Too much inflation can become a disaster. History is filled with examples of currencies becoming nearly worthless. In some cases, people needed wheelbarrows full of money just to buy everyday items. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with cash just to purchase a sandwich. That's not financial success. That's a warning sign. Over time, money continued evolving. Banks appeared. Loans became common. Credit expanded. Entire economies grew around the movement of money. Businesses borrowed money to expand. Inventors borrowed money to build new ideas. Governments borrowed money to build roads, cities, and infrastructure, and occasionally to fund wars. History is full of examples of people doing brilliant things with money. It's also full of examples of people doing spectacularly terrible things with money. Then came checks, then credit cards, then online banking, then digital payments. Suddenly, money wasn't just coins or paper anymore. It was information. Today, most money exists only as digital records. The numbers in your bank account aren't sitting in a vault somewhere with your name attached. Most of the time, they're entries in databases, which means humanity has completed a fascinating journey. We started with cattle. We experimented with shells. We carried metal. We printed paper. And eventually, we turned money into information. But here's an interesting thought. Imagine every dollar on Earth vanished tomorrow morning. Every bank account, every coin, every bill, every digital balance, gone. The buildings would still exist. The roads would still exist. The food would still exist. The factories would still exist. The knowledge people possess would still exist. The wealth of humanity wouldn't disappear. What would disappear is the system we use to measure and exchange that wealth. Money isn't the thing itself. Money is the tool. And that tool has become so important that it's difficult to imagine modern life without it. Today, money is changing once again. For most of human history, money was physical. You could hold it, count it, hide it. Now money is becoming increasingly digital. Many people rarely carry cash. Some stores don't even accept it. Payments happen instantly through phones and computers. And new technologies like cryptocurrencies have raised an interesting question. What happens when money exists without governments or banks controlling it? Whether cryptocurrencies become the future or simply another chapter in the story remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. Money continues to evolve, just as it has for thousands of years. And despite all those changes, the fundamental idea remains exactly the same. Money is a shared agreement. That's it. Money works because people trust it. When you accept money for your work, you're trusting that someone else will accept it later. And they're trusting someone else after that. And someone else after that. Money is one of the largest systems of cooperation ever created. Billions of people participate in it every single day. Without trust, money is just paper, or metal, or pixels on a screen. With trust, it becomes one of the most powerful inventions in human history. The story of money isn't really about coins, or paper, or banks. It's about people. It's about trust. It's about humanity finding a way for complete strangers to exchange value with one another. And despite thousands of years of change, that's still what money does today. It all started with a simple problem. One farmer, 3 chickens, and a shoemaker who wanted wheat instead. But money is only one story. Every object around you has a story. Coffee, paper, roads, maps, electricity, time itself. And together, we're going to explore all of them. I'm Atlas, and this has been the Atlas Guide. I'll see you in the next story.